It is another Browns Monday, this one coming after a loss for the second time this season. 27-20, the Browns come up short against the Raiders following a, guys, I don't know what other word to use, disastrous first half. They came back, made it interesting in the second half, but to no avail, the Browns are 1-2. So, guys, let's get after it. Let me tell you how this is going to work. You two are going to go back and forth. We got Bud Shaw sitting over in the seat of knowledge across from us. He's going to pick a winner. We're going to do some fill in the blanks later. We're going to do some grades later. Michael Reghi here has some rants. Chris Fedor, I'm sure, has some rants for us as well. Let's get right to it, though, guys. Going back to yesterday, a lot to talk about the defense, a lot to talk about the quarterback play. A lot of people wanted a quarterback switch at halftime of that game. Who is to blame for yesterday's loss? Chris?
Everybody. We'll start there. I mean, Mike Pettine, the head coach, obviously some of the blame certainly falls at his feet. It's his defense, right? Isn't he supposed to be a defensive-minded guy? Didn't he hire the defensive coordinator and Jim O'Neill? So he deserves some blame, and that's now 2 out of the 3 games where the Browns look ill-prepared and they didn't have the kind of energy that you want from an NFL team going into a game. So he gets some of it. I think Josh McCown certainly gets some of it because he's supposed to be the leader of the offense. He's supposed to be the guy that has taken command of that offense, and the offense was a disaster in the first half. It got going in the second half, but by that time they dug themselves such a big hole. And the defense overall, I would say, deserves a ton of credit, because they've been chirping all off season about how great they are and how many Pro Bowlers they have, and we're going to do this in the secondary and forget the Legion of Boom in Seattle. The real best secondary is here in Cleveland, and we're going to stop the run and we're going to do all that. They didn't do anything of that nature. Like, Derek Carr had his way. Latavius Murray did whatever he wanted. Amari Cooper did whatever he wanted. So everybody is getting blamed today.
Michael?
In 10 seconds? all that is wolf
tickets.
There you
That's
go.
Exactly right.
That's what it is from the defense. Well, make no mistake, a complete meltdown, just an absolute travesty in every phase of the football game. And oh, yeah, even guy we all like, Chris Tabor, your guys are not exempt either. Travis Benjamin with fumbling the punt when the football game might have been hanging in the balance. And, of course, Barkevius Mingo with his roughing the punter. But guys, to me, again, while it's a complete failure and a meltdown everywhere, I'm going to go with Chris. To me, that defensive side of the football is absolutely all too much yak and not enough show up and play. And you're right, Mike Pettine, listen, at Buffalo, he was supposed to be, well, his defenses were 28th against the run in the NFL. The only time he's really had success, it was with Rex Ryan with the New York Jets. Mike, it's gotten to the point now where it's starting to become a very, very big issue with your football team. To me, although it's a 46-man that were dressed plus all the coaches, I'm going to lay most of this on the defense. Force the offense to have to throw the football 49 times. The Browns can't win that way.
All right, there was
Buffalo really misses Mike Pettine's defensive mind.
Yeah, right, don't they?
They're not
plenty of yak
well
yesterday for the Raiders wide receivers, though. Bud, who you got?
Well, I'm going to have to side with yak and wolf tickets. They're just too good. Those phrases are too good to pass up. No, in this category, I would now put Ray Farmer, who consistently tells us that the big play, big-time wide receiver isn't necessary. And we've seen how easy these guys can make offense look for their quarterbacks. In Amari Cooper, we saw it with Brandon Marshall. It's time to see it on this field and in some other capacity than bringing back Vince Mailey.
And Bud, to your point, think about the one offense that kind of struggled against the Browns. It was the Tennessee Titans.
Yeah.
Why? Because they didn't have a wide receiver that could consistently win one-on-one matchups against the Browns secondary. Kendall Wright couldn't do it consistently.
Nope.
Harry Douglas couldn't do it consistently.
Nope.
But the two playmaking teams that the Browns have gone against here, with those wide receivers on the outside that can consistently win one-on-one, the Browns haven't had an answer for it.
All right,
so
guys,
you tell me wide receivers overrated.
First series, again, like I was pointing out last week, what did Derek Carr do? 4 catches
he went right
for
at
Amari
Joe
Cooper against Joe Hayden.
We're going to get into Joe Hayden a little bit later, but let's move on to topic number 2. We've already discussed Mike Pettine a little bit, So let's go down that road, guys. How much blame does Mike Pettine deserve in all of this, Michael?
He deserves a lot of the blame. And again, as I've said, I'm, bottom line, I've been a Mike Pettine guy. I liked the way he came in to this organization a year ago. So maybe I'm going to be proven wrong here, because I really thought that he had the chops and the toughness and to get guys to galvanize, rally up, and be a football team that would adopt his philosophy. But look, it's not happening. Here's the real bottom line, right? Mm-hmm. After a 7-4 start last year, he's dropped 7 of the last 8.
That's exactly
now,
right.
you know, the bottom line business. That's what we're talking about here. You lose 7 of 8, and now so overall he's 8-11, and it's trending very much going south. It's not a good look for Mike Pettine and his staff.
Chris?
Eventually, you have to get to a point with a head coach where you don't just buy into the guy because he's your guy. You have to have some evidence that tells you that he's the right guy, or he's the guy that's going to get this team to take that next step. And who knows what that next step is going to be. But at this point, if we're making a list of pros and cons, what do we even have on the pro side for Mike Pettine? Okay, so he's dealt with a lot of adversity and he's handled it pretty well. I agree it's been a tough job, and there have been a lot of things that have been thrown at him, guys. A lot of things that a second-year head coach probably doesn't have to deal with. But at some point, I've got to have something that defines Mike Pettine as a head coach.
Tangible.
Yes.
And what is that?
I've got nothing.
Wins.
I have absolutely nothing.
It's got to be wins eventually. But
yeah.
I'm going to have to go with both of these guys on this one. If you tell me that Mike Pettine is the guy, I'm probably guilty of saying the same thing over the last couple seasons. But at some point, it's got to be more than winning the press conference. We do this in the media all the time. We talk about how guys look in front of the camera, how we think they carry themselves in the locker room. I don't know how many press conferences Mike Zimmer has won. I don't know how many Bruce Arians won. And I know for a fact that nobody's counting those because they have wins to count. And by the way, losing 7 of 8, that sounds pretty good to Josh McCown.
Have you guys seen Bruce Arians' hat, though, that he wears during those press conferences? That guy wins. That guy wins every single press conference that he takes.
Yeah.
All right. Look, we're in Cleveland. We know what we got to talk about heading into San Diego next week, guys. All right, you ready? Who should start at quarterback next week for the Cleveland Browns? Chris Fedor.
I'm going to say Josh McCown still. He's the starting quarterback. He's the guy that the Browns named the starting quarterback. They planned 4 months for him to be the starting quarterback, and I still don't think Johnny Manziel did enough in that game against Tennessee to take that job, and that's his responsibility as a backup. And the other thing is, I'm a little bit nervous about putting Johnny Manziel, a young 22-year-old quarterback, into this situation behind that offensive line with very little in terms of playmakers, with very little in terms of the running game, with not enough defense where he has to think, hey, man, I got to go out and score 20. Maybe I got to go out and score 28. Johnny Manziel has a chance, and I think it's a small chance, but there's still a chance that he's the Browns' future at quarterback. So I'm not going to risk that, and I'm not going to potentially ruin him in this kind of situation. I'd rather do that with Josh McCown, who's got no future in this organization.
But Michael, things might be worse down the road when injuries start to pile up.
What does everybody say? It can't get any worse. I don't like that. People say, yeah, it can. It can get any worse. Let's bring a little levity to this, Dan. We can go re-sign Joshua Cribbs, give him a shot. Terrell Pryor is still out there looking for a football team. You know, you could run read option with him if you like. So, you know, these are ways the Browns could go. But, no, I'm with you. Look, you got to stay with Josh McCown because, again, this is the road you wanted to go down. When you went out the last few years, and people don't equate this, but I think it's telling. Look, when you go out the last few years, Ray Farmer, and you bring in the likes of Dante Whitner and Carlos Dansby and go get Randy Starks this year, you're saying we're going to get these guys on the wrong side of 30 because we want to win now, and we want to put this out there that we're about. Well, listen. If that's what you're doing, and you've made the determination to Josh McCown, then you got to stick with Josh McCown and continue to have him quarterback the football team. Last week I said Manziel, but again, because I thought that's what they would do. But I really thought Pettine would go to him last week. He's not going to. Josh McCown's his guy, so you stay with him.
Bud,
I'm going with all three, Fedor, Reghi, and McCown. And listen, I keep hearing that there was no energy in that place yesterday, and it was because Johnny wasn't allowed to bring the momentum from the Tennessee game into this. There's a reason why when this team wins the toss, they defer. It's because they think they have a good defense and they want the ball in the second half. They got their allegedly good defense on the field and got driven down and were lucky to hold them to a field goal. They're the ones that had a chance to create the energy. You can't pin this one on the starting quarterback. Yeah. There'll be others you can, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know though. That first half of Mr. McCown was pretty brutal.
But here's the thing.
Rugged.
I think people just have to understand, like, he's not good. We know that he's not good, but Johnny's not that good either.
Okay,
so
but which
you've
one?
got two poor
all right,
options.
but which one do you want out there? The one who's not good, who's 36, or the one who's not good that has some upside?
How about the one who's ready to play?
Josh McCown didn't look ready to play.
He's got more experience.
Josh McCown looked like a rookie at age 36 yesterday. All right, that's going to do it for our debate segment. Hey, we got a photo to look at from yesterday's game. There you go. This kind of sums up everything from the Browns yesterday. Latavius Murray running by people. Carlos Dansby just throwing his arms up in despair. If anything is more defining of that game yesterday.
Lorenzo Talafaro.
Denard
Robinson. Now we'll add. We're going to add Latavius Murray to the list, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I like Latavius Murray, but he's not that good.
Dansby's looking at him. He's like, "Oh, 20. Is that Peterson running away from me? 28. Peterson, tall, rangy guy."
Okay, I got a tweet for you guys before we get to fill in the blanks. Get those chalkboards ready, marker boards ready. We're going to do some fill in the blanks.
Okay.
And I got a tweet for you.
Oh boy.
It says from Simon Parkinson, Browns UK Simon, I'm looking for positives out of the Browns' performance, and in all honesty, I can't find any. Our first fill in the blank question, guys. One positive from Sunday's game is blank. One positive from Sunday's game is blank. Now, we only got a half-hour show, so you can't think too long on this. A positive from Sunday's game.
Well, then.
I'm trying to think of one. The Brown uniforms didn't look as terrible as they could have. That's all I can think of. All right, you've got one, Ray Guy. What is it?
I don't know if this is one that's going to evoke a whole lot of excitement in anybody, but the head football coach, Mike Pettin, told his coaching staff that we look like a scout team out there. Now, that's not a real ringing endorsement, but I'm going to take it as maybe Mike Pettin is telling his coaches, you know, hey, listen, we'll go right back to ground zero, and all of us will just start with a scout team and see if we can build it up from there. I know that's a little bit of an awkward twist, but quite honestly, it's about the only thing I can think of.
Fedor?
Okay. Well, guys, I got the Browns move closer in the race for Jared Goff.
This is the most Fedor answer ever. I love it.
That is true, folks. We have had suck for luck. We have had play like a turd for Robert Griffin III. We've even had wet the Betty for Teddy.
No, that was you. You had that one.
Now we're getting closer to Jared Goff. Yes, that is the only positive from yesterday's game.
You weren't a part of fail for Cardale?
Oh, God, no. Why are you going to fail for not the best quarterback in
right.
Oh, all right, but I'm just throwing all the slogans out there.
Give me a positive, Bud.
Well, I think this chalkboard is left over from the last 3 weeks. I would say Andy Lee.
Yeah, there he is.
He had a 76-yard punt.
Yep.
Thanks to,
Very true.
Cooper that?
That was Cooper.
That was Cooper that ran backwards?
Yep.
Yeah.
You gotta say, hey, Ray Farmer knows how to build a team.
There are so many things that we can look back at during the offseason and really should have told us what to expect this season. One was drafting a backup offensive lineman in the first round. The other, trading for a punter.
Okay, so let's see. Can Ray Farmer draft a wide receiver? Nope. Does he have an eye for running back talent? Nope. But you know what? When it comes to punters, he knows his legs. He sure does. That Andy Lee has a leg.
All right, let's move on to
teamers.
our next fill in the blank. We got another tweet here. This one is from Glenn Harmon Jr. This is kind of a repeat from week 1, I feel like.
Boy.
At Joe Hayden 23 getting torched again. Come on, man. Joe Hayden did not have a great day yesterday. The Browns' best cornerback right now is blank. Who is the Browns' best cornerback? We got Hayden still on the board. Tremont Williams.
Yeah. Well,
Nobody's going here to see her, right? Nobody's doing that.
no.
Michael?
Justin Gilbert could get a call here.
Who, the guy who played behind Johnson Batamosi?
That's right. The best cornerback on the football team is still Joe Hayden. As I said 2 weeks ago, he's a good football player, talented football player, solid, but certainly not elite. Certainly not in my top cornerbacks in the National Football League. But the question is, as far as the Browns corners, well, Joe Hayden's your best corner. It's just that no one in the NFL fears attacking him and going at him, as we see repeatedly week after week after week.
Chris?
My answer is Joe Hayden. I mean, Dan, what the heck do you want me to say otherwise? K'Wan Williams? You know who it is?
He's concussed at the moment.
You know who it is? It's Charles Gates, actually. The guy that the Browns decided to use their only IR designated to return spot on. The 6th cornerback. Yeah, that's good roster structure right there. But it's Joe Hayden, and that's just because there's nobody else that I could even think to put there. I'm not going to put Tremont Williams. Tremont Williams' best years have already happened. They were in Green Bay.
Bud? Hayden. All right. All 3 for Joe Hayden.
I don't really even have much to add to that.
Today.
Other than, let's not get too distracted. You know, what's happened to Hayden is not necessarily a reflection that he's a bad player. Just look at the wide receivers that he's dealt with so far. What's that line from Caddyshack? There are no slouches. Well,
Right.
yeah.
But doesn't that come with the territory, though? I mean,
Sure.
if you're getting paid as number 1 shutdown corner status in the NFL, I mean, that's what you got to expect every week. What are you going to go flop over on the other side and
Sure.
say, I'll take the 2 or the slot guy, the 3? Doesn't work that way.
I'm just saying, if you can name on 3 fingers maybe guys that don't get beat on Sunday, and you know Richard Sherman may be one of those guys, Revis.
Yep.
I just think, again, getting back to the question, Hayden's clearly the best, probably still the best defensive
He's a good
player.
He's a good player, but he's going to get torched, as we've seen from time to time.
Yep.
All right. That's going to do it for fill in the blank. We only got 2 of them. We're going to do some grades later. We're going to do some other things as well. But we got another photo here that I want to show you guys.
yeah.
Stick that up on the screen. We got Mike Pettin over here. We got John DiFilippo. These 2 guys talking to each other. And what do you think, guys? What do you think they're saying?
Well, DiFilippo doesn't.
Nothing,
If you
apparently.
can't run the
I have
football, suit Wilbert up. See if he's got anything left, as in Wilbert Montgomery, the running backs coach.
I mean, John DiFilippo looks like he's just staring into space. I don't even know. Are they even looking at each other in that photo? It looks like they're looking past each other.
Maybe Mike Pettin is saying...
I think Mike Pettin's saying, is Kyle Shanahan coming back anytime soon?
He's a genius, you know.
I'll give him a 45-point PowerPoint presentation if he comes back to the Browns.
I think Pettin's saying, remember when I said I was going to get more involved in the offense this year? How's that going?
I'm taking over the room.
Mike Pettin saying, we missed our chance to draft Derek Carr. Sorry, bud.
Did you guys see that, by the way, yesterday? Julio Jones, afterwards, who said, Kyle Shanahan is an offensive play-calling genius, quote, end quote, from Julio Jones.
We know he's great with the PowerPoint presentation.
Yeah.
The problem is, how long until someone in that coaching room sours on Kyle Shanahan? The guy has not lasted long.
No, he hasn't. He hasn't, but, last year I thought, he wasn't dealing with a whole lot of elite football players, and they were 7-4. at one point.
He got a
and
bad
being
rap
productive.
last year. There were a lot of guys open in that receivers group last year, thanks to Kyle Shanahan. All right, Michael Reghi.
Yes, sir.
We're riled up. What do you got?
Yeah, Mike Pettin, I know it seems like we're scorching you today. And again, I'm going to temper this a little bit because down deep, I really wanted to see this guy succeed. And maybe I'm not going to get tied into that having stability in a key position like a head coach of an NFL team, just because for the sake of stability. But I thought he had the goods. Mike, this is becoming something that is not only extremely disappointing, but it's becoming one that speaks directly to your stops at Baltimore and with the New York Jets and with Buffalo. I mean, how much of a big part did you really have to do with your defensive football team? I mean, again, continually getting gashed week in and week out. Maybe some of this is on Ray Farmer, as I mentioned a little bit earlier. You decided to jettison the likes of Jabal Sheard and Buster Screen. You didn't want to keep them. You didn't want to keep T.J. Ward. You brought in Dante Whitner and Carlos Dansby that are on the wrong side of 30. Tramon Williams, decent job, but same thing. It's very disappointing. I think, Mike, it very much speaks to possibly your inability to even go back as a defensive coordinator should you lose your job as the head coach of the Cleveland Browns. You got to do something about the defense, Mike, because it's now getting to the point that it's becoming a running joke week in and week out with your inability to be able to find a way, whether it's scheme or personnel. You're the head football coach. You got to do something about it because it's killing your opportunities to win. And that's got me riled up.
All right, Michael Reghi riled up here on our Browns Monday morning show. Bud, 27-20. The Browns were losers yesterday. That was,
I remember. I remember that. I don't
remember
remember much these days.
I'm trying to come up with words to
cataloged all the
describe the
Browns'
performance besides disastrous.
The fact that it was here, again, I know we can't make too much of that, but if you're going to call yourself a good defense, I mean, this is where you have to win games, right? You have to win them when you play them at home, when you've got another young quarterback, although I think Derek Carr is much farther along than Mariota was. So I don't, is disgraceful too strong of a word?
But it's not like the book isn't out there on the Raiders. You know how they play. They're going to get the ball in their receiver's hands, and they're going to try and run after the catch.
Yeah. Now, hey.
The Browns look completely lost against them.
They had how many drives over 70 yards? I think I counted 5?
Too many.
Mm-hmm. Somewhere around 5. Against Baltimore, they had a couple of drives of 80 yards or more. I think we will look back at the end of the season and say it's a more potent offense than we thought. But, if you're going to talk about all this momentum that came out of the Tennessee game and give it all to Johnny Manziel, it's a mistake. I mean, the momentum should have been because that defense dominated a rookie quarterback and put him on his heels. And that's what wasn't there yesterday at all. If you want to make it all about Josh McCown, fine. But I think you're distracting yourself to the other issues this team has.
2 years in a row, the Browns have had a chance to get to 2-1 at home, and they failed to do so. The schedule not nearly as forgiving, though, this year. Their next 7 games are not going to be fun. All right, guys, let's do some grades. First, I want to show everyone a tweet from George Bransby. He asks, has anyone ever taught the Browns defense how to tackle? That's going to lead us into our grades. The way we're going to do it is we're going to give an A and we're going to give an F. So let's start with the easy one. I'll let you guys think about the A down the road a little bit. Give your F. Only one.
Kind of giving the F to the entire
now you really got to find somebody.
Just one?
Just one.
Just one F, huh?
If you're only allowed to give out one F, who or what does it go to?
One
Bud?
F.
I'm going to say Dante Whitner. As the leader of this defense, I can't remember seeing a guy miss as many tackles. I also can't remember seeing a guy so demonstrative after he breaks up a pass, with the arm waving, and you would think that this was the leader of the Steel Curtain back in the day, And it's time for this team to start playing like they have some veterans back there, which they do. I mean, look at the salary cap. Look where all the money is on this team. Follow the money.
And look, Charles Woodson playing with a bad shoulder, can barely tackle. He outplayed Dante Whitner yesterday. Fedor.
I'm going to go with Danny Shelton, actually. Has he made a play in 3 games? 12th overall pick, first-round pick. The nicest thing that anybody can say about Danny Shelton, the only thing that anybody can say about Danny Shelton through 3 games is that he occupies blockers. I mean, are you kidding me? I saw Latavius Murray. This is Latavius Murray. Wait until they play Le'Veon Bell. Wait until they see Jeremy Hill, Gio Bernard. Wait until this upcoming week against Melvin Gordon and Danny Woodhead. You're letting Latavius Murray run right up the middle against you. By the way, his touchdown run, Danny Shelton was one-on-one blocked against Rodney Hudson and got shoved out of the play. Latavius Murray's 50-yard run went right up the middle, then he cut it to the right. Danny Shelton got shoved right down the line of scrimmage. I got to see something from this kid. He's the 12th overall pick. This is a team that's supposed to be able to stop the run better because of him anchoring that defensive line, and it's been a disaster in 3 games.
Right guy.
No, I'm with you. You got to hold first-round draft picks.
Yes.
Come on, man. You got to come out and play. Got to hold them to a higher level. I do. I'm with Bud, though. Dante Whitner, very, very disappointing to me. Look, I've understood, and I've tried to caution some people that we're thinking of the Dante Whitner. I know it's cool. He grew up in the Glenville community and started Ohio State and was an all-pro and developed his chops as a Buffalo Bill. But if you really look at it, when he went to San Francisco, slippage. There was major slippage starting to show. I'm sorry, the let T.J. Ward walk and bring in Dante Whitner, now that's a regression for the Cleveland Browns, folks. Again, Glenville and Ohio State notwithstanding. Can the guy play? Dante Whitner is not as good as T.J. Ward anymore, and it's becoming to a point, as Bud said, it's starting to really, really hurt the back end of this defense in the Browns secondary with Whitner continuing to flail away trying to make plays.
All right, now comes the hard part, guys. Give me an A from yesterday.
An A?
Give me
impossible.
an A from the 27-20 loss. I want to see how creative you guys can get. An A. We're a lot of Raiders fans, and maybe give some A's to their costumes. That's all I got. Bud is just kind of staring at his marker board, starting to write. Fedor doing the same thing. I think Michael's got somebody.
And listen, truth be told, it's very, very difficult to give an A out. But Gary Barnidge played a very good football game yesterday. I tweeted out yesterday morning that I did not expect Jack Del Rio to allow Travis Benjamin get deep at 50 yards plus once again. I felt that both Brian Hartline and Gary Barnidge, along with Hawkins and Gabriel, could have good football games in that McCown was going to distribute the football more. Barnidge played well yesterday. Listen, I don't know if it's A-worthy, but certainly about the best I think you could expect. 6 grabs, 105 yards, and a TD. Gary Barnidge played well yesterday with Josh McCown in that Browns pass game.
Fedor just finished his up. We're about 30, 40 seconds
Can
into
I
this,
pick
and
a
you
Raider?
just finished yours. I don't care.
Oh, I didn't know I could pick a
You
Raider.
gotta pick a Brown.
I'll do that next week when it comes to the Chargers. I'll pick somebody from San Diego for my A. Andy Lee, I don't know. What do you want me to say? It's been the story every single year for the Browns. Special teams, they lead the universe
Phil Dawson,
in being good on special teams. Josh Cribbs, Eric Metcalf, Gerald McNeil,
Ice Cube.
Chris Gardocki. And now Andy Lee is just taking that torch and running with it.
My guy.
Freaking punter.
How about Travis Coons, too, and the start he's off to? Just finding special teamers. Yeah. Go ahead, Bud.
Well, I'm getting a little older. Sometimes I have trouble placing people's names. This guy looked good in his jersey. He came in early, off the street, did his best work. He just couldn't keep it going. I'd say the anthem singer.
The anthem singer.
I thought he was very impressive.
Is it the guy that wears the jersey, the number 7 jersey,
Yeah.
and he tucks it in?
Yeah.
We got to talk about that.
Hey,
Don't
John,
tuck it in.
John Hart,
I know you're
used
singing,
to tuck his sweaters in.
I know
so
you're
maybe
singing
that's
the
look
anthem
he's
in
going
front of
for.
60-some thousand people, but don't tuck the
I
jersey
thought he was
in.
very good.
But yeah, he does a good job. Just stop tucking the jersey in, man. He'll be fine. All right, last thing before we go, bold predictions. So let's make some bold predictions. Let's start with Michael.
Thank you.
Last week I gave you that Dwayne Bowe is going to get released, and that's getting closer and closer to reality. But because Jimmy Haslam, guys, came out and I don't know if it was a vote of confidence earlier on, but he pretty much said that his head football coach and his general manager aren't going anywhere regardless of the did he not? Regardless of the record in this 2015 season. Yeah, I got a sneaking suspicion that before too long you're going to hear rumblings of maybe not Haslam recanting that, but certainly
Getting a rebate on it?
Yeah, but they're nice, but certainly not coming out in such definitive tone that if this thing keeps spiraling south, that there's not going to be another movement with his head coach and his general manager. I believe that both of them are on a real slippery slope as Sunday after Sunday rolls by.
Fedor?
Well, think about that, what you just said. Hey, guys, training camp just started in Berea, and we're not going to blow it up this year.
Why would you do
Other
that?
people are talking about winning their division, maybe being a 500 team. You know what? We're just not going to blow things up this year. That's what you have to hang on to, Browns fans. My bold prediction last week was that whoever the quarterback was going to be was going to throw for 300 yards. Josh McCown had to get close, right?
He did.
He had to get close,
He had
right?
341.
He did throw
What'd he-
for
341.
341.
I'm 2 for 2 on my predictions.
Well, the one doesn't
Thank
count.
you.
Didn't we say the
How
one didn't
bold
count?
that is.
Come on.
Just want to say,
Put it
saying
up.
Josh McCown or Johnny
All
Manziel
right,
for
give us-
You run for
300?
39 yards and you're going to put it up 49
Give us your
times.
bold prediction.
I mean, you got to give me credit on that one. Nobody saw that coming. My bold prediction for this game against San Diego is some wide receiver, not named Benjamin, is going to score a touchdown. Yes, some wide receiver not named Benjamin is going to catch a touchdown pass. I can tell you it's not going to be Dwayne Bowe. I don't know if it's going to be Brian Hartline, Taylor Gabriel, or Andrew Hawkins, but it's not going to be Benjamin, and it's not going to be Bowe.
Bud?
The Browns have a gauntlet coming up of 7 games. If I have them right, it's San Diego, Baltimore, Denver, Arizona,
St. Louis.
St. Louis.
St. Louis, and then
Pittsburgh.
Pittsburgh, yep.
Okay. My bold prediction is that they will win 2 of those games. Now, that doesn't sound bold, does it? But it really is. This team, to go 2-5 when they only have 2 of those games at home, I think this is the beginning of something big in this town.
All right. That's going to do it for our show. Thanks, Michael. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, Bud. I'm Dan Labbe. We'll have all sorts of clips of the show up a little later today if you missed any of it. Thanks for watching.